Hello everyone, this is Andre's Restart, and today we are going to have a quick, simply edited discussion on these two ultra-credible Nintendo leakers that have now apparently been dismantled, yet the leaks are still continuing. So that's what we're getting into today. But before going forward, let me ask that if you do enjoy my content, to please subscribe and hit that notification bell. So for the last year or so, there have been two prominent leakers that have developed a great deal of credibility: Pyoro and Midori. Pyoro, from what I have seen, has exclusively covered Nintendo leaks shortly before they are to be announced, and has been right almost every single time, until recently, and we'll get to that. But then there's Midori, who's covered Sega, Atlus, Square Enix, and even Nintendo. They have leaked some things that have been eminent and other things that yet to have been confirmed. It's quite a mix. Yet their track record has also proven to be very, very strong. There are some articles out there saying that they got one or two things right and that's pretty much it, but that's not true. If you look at their track record, they had a long history of getting a variety of things right. Their percent of correctness wasn't as great as Pyoro's though, but still, a great majority of the time their leaks proved to be true, including several key leaks for the recent Nintendo Direct that was pretty darn good. And we'll also get to the implications of the Midori leaks a bit later. But both of these leakers have met their end. Their Twitter accounts have been limited or blocked, tweets have been deleted, and we do not expect to hear any more leaks from them anymore, at least not under the aliases of Pyoro and Midori. In the case of Midori, it was uncovered that this person had a shady personality from the past where they did a variety of unethical and illegal activities and also didn't have a great track record. And it also appears that while they did have a series of accurate leaks, their source of info was cut off. No more. Now with Pyoro, this is an even more recent event that has been covered over the last day or so. This person said some interesting things leading up to the Nintendo Direct. They led people astray. They had some leaks of some smaller announcements that would take place during the Nintendo Direct, but when it came to first-party announcements, they didn't really know anything at all. And when asked, the way they phrased their responses, they did not deny that they didn't know anything. They led people to believe that they knew something, that they had an inside knowledge of what would be in the Direct, and Pyoro was basically telling people to manage your expectations and that it would be a first-party light Nintendo Direct. Essentially telling us that the Direct was going to be subpar, but what actually ended up happening was the Direct was not first-party light really by any stretch of the imagination. They announced Donkey Kong Country Returns HD, and that was the only Nintendo remaster. Everything else that was announced was new. They announced the return of the Mario & Luigi series, an incredible comeback that has fans totally stoked. They announced the next Mario Party, which is being touted as the largest Mario Party ever made. They announced a brand new 2D top-down Legend of Zelda game starring Princess Zelda, also unprecedented, and they closed the show with Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, the first trailer that contains footage of this game, something we've been waiting on news for the last 7 years. By any reasonable standard for a Nintendo fan, this was a stellar presentation. And what Pyoro did was, in my opinion, an effort to still maintain a semblance of great credibility amongst the Nintendo community, but instead what they did was take the wind out of our sails and disappoint us leading into the Direct. We were led astray. And shortly after this event, a theory started to brew online. On Reset Era, D-Game Master came to the conclusion that Pyoro's source of information must be coming from Nintendo's website. So basically, it appears somehow, someway, Pyoro had access to the info on Nintendo's website on the back end, and what Nintendo would do would be getting the site ready with new information on their games shortly before they're to be announced during the Direct, and this is why Pyoro would be leaking things that were eminent, because all they were doing was updating us on the back end of Nintendo's website once they were about to have an announcement. But interestingly, this time around, Nintendo did not put any of their first-party announcements up on the website shortly before the Direct. And what happened? Pyoro knew nothing. And so this theory has gained a lot of traction, and now many believe this to be the case. So Bloomberg reached out to Pyoro on this, and Pyoro responded by saying that their source works for Nintendo of Japan, but I'm unsure how they obtain their information, and that the back-end theory is a reasonable guess. And so Pyoro unintentionally outed themselves, or rather, their source. And since Pyoro has gone and deleted all their tweets from last few years, and their account is privated or blocked or what have you, cannot interact with it anymore. And so now we're at a point where both Midori and Pyoro are no more. We are expecting no more leaks from these sources, and Nintendo, at least in the case of Pyoro, has found a way to combat those leaks. And what we got was one of the most exciting directs in a very, very long time. But something I want to speak on here are the Midori leaks, because I've also noticed some confusion when it comes to this person. Some have come to the conclusion that because Midori has this shady history, that their leaks are not to be trusted. And of course, with all these things, you should take it with a grain of salt. Nothing is confirmed until it's confirmed. But under the alias of Midori, the source of information that they were using was strong. And there was some debate on the Nintendo leaks because they were coming from a different place, but apparently they leveraged the info they had to get these Nintendo leaks, and they were all a whole bunch of codename things that we covered before the direct. And there's been some discussion on the value of even knowing these codenames. Some of them may seem kind of obvious, but through these codenames, we were able to even more confidently predict that there would be a direct follow-up to Super Mario Party with that branding in this upcoming Nintendo Direct, and a new 2D Zelda reveal as well. So the codename leaks are proving to be strong. And Midori leaked other things, like the date of the Nintendo Direct being on the 18th before others, as well as Dragon Quest 1 through 3 HD 2D. They were during the Direct and they were really big highlights. They even also through DMs said that there would be a new 2D Zelda reveal, and it wasn't just based off the codename leaks. So all of this info proved to be true, so it bodes well for the other codename leaks they've offered. None of the codename leaks so far have proven to be inaccurate in any way. So this is interesting information, and I'll be keeping it in mind for the future. So leakers come and go. I never expected Midori or Pyoro to last. They became popular over the last year or so, and surely more will surface. Actually, there's this user on Reset Era, Ada Wong, that apparently also leaked a new 2D Zelda reveal, but starring Princess Zelda, so a little bit more detail, and the return of Mario and Luigi. Also, Papa Genos has a very curious history of getting very spot-on predictions. So what should we expect next? Well, there's a lot to talk about with the games that were shown off during the Direct, but also there is a Switch 2 that we are expecting to be announced relatively soon. I think by September, but Nintendo has officially on the record told us by the end of the fiscal year, which still isn't really that far away. And at least we have some exciting games to talk about in the meanwhile. And I'm sure there will be more rumors and leaks to discuss in the future. But what do you think? What do you make of the end of Pyoro and Midori? But what do you think? What do you make of the ends of Pyoro and Midori? Let me know in the comments below. This is Andres Restart. Thank you so much for listening and watching, and I'll see you all really soon. Take care. Bye.